Now we're going to move on to the next session, mental health within Black communities. We're going to have a panel discussion from 11:40 to 12:20. So we are on track, and this we will be joined by Bilqis Abdul-Qaadir as well as Bilal from Mustaqeem. Thank you so much for joining us today. Just another reminder in terms of announcements, speakers are very happy to answer questions during the Q&A period, so please post them in the Q&A section. Sessions, again, on December the 12th are not accredited. Sessions on December the 13th are accredited. Feedback for the session and conference can be provided digitally after the conference with a Google Form survey. And like I mentioned before, resources are available at www.muslimmentalhealth.ca. So the goals of the session today, one, we're going to discuss intersectional experiences of Black identity with age, gender, culture, and Islam. And two, we'll be looking at, learning about the experiences of systemic discrimination on mental health from our panelists today. So I'm very pleased and honored to introduce Bilal Moore, who is part of Mustaqeem. It's a Toronto-based contemporary music group consisting of brothers Jibreel and Bilal Moore. Although primarily hip hop, they tend to venture into multiple music genres, all with meaningful lyrics, a positive message on top of banging beats. The two have been composing, writing, and producing their own original songs for the past 7 years as a duo. So please find their music on all streaming platforms and YouTube. I'm also very honored and pleased to introduce Bilqis Abdul-Qaadir. From a young age, Bilqis knew she wanted basketball to be part of her life. After first picking up a ball at the age of 4 at a local YMCA, Bilqis's love for the game began. She parlayed her skills into a full ride scholarship to the University of Memphis, where she played for 4 years from 2009 to 2013. And she graduated magna cum laude with a degree in exercise science. She finished her college career playing her senior redshirt year at Indiana State University while acquiring a master's degree in science with a concentration in physical education. Her goal was to continue playing professionally in Europe, but quickly ended due to the International Basketball Federation's rule prohibiting headgear larger than 5 inches. So unwilling to stray in her beliefs, Bilqis chose faith over basketball and became an advocate working alongside other Muslim players who began a change.org change.org petition to overturn the headgear ruling. Through an op-ed published by Time magazine, an open letter signed by Olympic, retired and professional athletes, high-level speaking engagements and interviews, Bilqis raised her voice for the next generation and effectively forced FIBA to uplift the ban. So Bilqis is currently living in London, Ontario, Canada, with her husband working at London Islamic School. They also run their basketball program called Dribbling Down Barriers, hosting camps and clinics for the youth in the US and Canada. Welcome both. It's a real pleasure having you both join us today. So this year, we are focusing on the topic of Black Muslim mental health in light of all the political events and that have been happening globally. Our focus is intended to destigmatize Black Muslim mental health and to commit non-Black community members to eradicating anti-Black racism, exclusion, and microaggressions. So microaggressions is defined by the Merriam-Webster dictionary as a comment or an action that subtly and often unconsciously or unintentionally expresses a prejudiced attitude towards a member of a marginalized group, for example, a racial minority. The impact of lifelong microaggressions is described by Harvard Gazette as the 1,000 little cuts that hurt our mental health the most. So just keep that in mind as we proceed with our panel. So having shared that, we would like our panel of speakers here to share some of their insights and experiences regarding this topic. To start, we would like to ask, first question is, how do you identify, what does this identify mean to you? Who would like to start? Bilal, you want to go ahead?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Mhm.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Um, Identity to me, what do I identify as? Well, the two big ones first will just be like black and Muslim. Um, Growing up, like at a young age, I never really identified as black because the way my parents raised me was like not shying away from the fact that let me know that I am black. Obviously, we know that, but it wasn't at the forefront of my mind growing up, right? I always thought, okay, I'm a Muslim first. All my other friends who aren't black, who are also Muslim, are all Muslims first. But then growing up, it slowly started to realize that other people don't see me as a Muslim first. Even my friends and stuff like that, like they always see me as black first. And that started to take a toll on me where I'm like, wait, am I even Muslim first before black? Because everyone would see me as black first. Comments where from non-Muslim people were like, oh, I didn't know Muslims can be black. Or even though there's people like Muhammad Ali and all of them, right? But so slowly over the years it started to come to my mind that wait, I am black and these people do view me differently than they view each other. Which is unfortunate because I thought we were all the same, just one Muslim ummah, but unfortunately, that is not the case right now. So my identity as a black person in the Muslim community has meant a lot to me over these years. Um, One second. Yeah, has meant a lot to me over these years because like it's put into perspective a lot of issues that are wrong with our community right now as Muslims. Um, and a lot of things that we need to change and fix for the future generations of Black Muslims growing up, inshallah.
Thank you so much. That's Thank you so much for sharing that. Bilqis has joined us. Bilqis, welcome.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. I believe you had a link for us, I believe, on YouTube.
Yes, so I'll go ahead and play that. And it's just a quick
You can
kind of
share it.
summary of
Share the
my
screen.
journey with basketball and faith. And it's the documentary, it's a trailer to my documentary. So I'm going to
Oh,
share my screen really
great.
fast.
Thank you.
I don't know why that's not. Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Trying to think how I can word it because it's really just a feeling that I feel. Everything that I have is just 2 years ago. And in a way, we still kind of telling the same story. If that opportunity opened up, I would play. But I'm still kind of battling that battle.
It was a historic night in Springfield.
Senior Bilqis Abdul-Qaadir blew Rebecca Lobo's scoring record out of the water.
I mean, anything is possible. Never give up, practice, your dreams come true, basically. I literally graduated, went home, gathered all my bags, and went to the airport. So that's how fast things were going.
Where's Bilqis? Right here. Stand up, Bilqis, just so that I want everybody to know. She's got heels on. She's 5'5". She's an athlete on her way to Memphis. Bilqis is an inspiration not simply to Muslim girls. She's an inspiration to all of us.
Bilqis Abdul-Qaadir has been invited to the Pro-Am Combines. These events give the top college seniors in the country a chance to be evaluated by foreign coaches.
I wasn't ready for what was about to happen, like I was just trying to play.
For the first time in her playing career, Bilqis Abdul-Qaadir has hit a roadblock. Basketball's governing body, FIBA, has ruled that bans players from wearing equipment that may cause injury to others, including headwear, hair accessories, and jewelry.
In the wake of terrorist attacks in Paris and San Bernardino, for these historic figures, just as for the other 5 million plus Muslims in the United States, this is an especially visible month when their faith and world events have echoed across American society, making this question a complex one to answer. What is it like to be a Muslim athlete in the United States today?
It's hard being a young Muslim woman in America. It takes strength to walk outside and look different than everybody else.
I pray that it gets better, but I think, there's so many mindsets that would have to be changed.
People kind of look at you different when they see Muslim women. They have this stereotype that they're quiet, that they're submissive, that they're not supposed to do these certain things. Everybody thinks, yeah, it's just a sport. But when I play basketball, I worry about nothing. It takes me out of real life. I was gonna finish school, I was gonna play basketball, I was gonna do all this stuff, and now it's just like a huge question mark. Right now, I don't know who I am. Am I anybody without basketball, Am I still myself?
Bilqis, thank you so much for sharing that trailer to your documentary. Is it out now?
Yes, the documentary is officially out, the full length. It's actually been screened.
My name is Scott Harrison.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me
Just listen.
turn that off.
This is
It's actually been screened at the TIFF Light Bell Center in Toronto, probably about 5 or 6 times. So it had its Canadian premiere, I believe, last year, which was really cool.
Amazing. Looking forward to watching that. I'm sure a lot of people that are attending and saw the clip as well are looking forward to that. So thank you and welcome to our panel discussion. Bilal was answered the first question. The first question was, how do you identify, and what does this identity mean to you? So Bilqis, you have an opportunity to answer that question as well.
Yes. So I just want to ask, can you hear me? Because I know a few people are saying that my audio is low.
Yeah, if you can turn it up, that'll be ideal.
Okay. Let me see. I don't know. Let me just make sure everything is up. Is this better or no?
I think we can hear you. Yeah.
Is it okay?
Just try to speak up on the microphone.
Okay.
Bilqis, if you click on your mic and click audio settings and then do the output volume, like stretch it a little bit higher.
Yeah, the output volume is actually all the way up. So I'm not sure why it's so low, or why I never actually had this problem. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'll just try to speak as loud as I can. Is that okay?
Yes.
Is that better? I'm kind of holding my laptop at this point.
Oh, sorry
It's
about
okay.
that.
That's
Okay,
perfect.
so,
We can hear you well.
Okay. So as far as how I identify, it's crazy because in the video you just watched, for a majority of my life, it was, I'm a basketball player. And although I was Muslim, although I was a woman, although I was Black, being an athlete kind of helps you slip through the cracks, regardless of how you physically appear to people at first glance. However, when I went through the situation with FIBA and when I was told that I couldn't play basketball, my identity, I started to question everything. And so in those moments of just confusion and pretty much having to choose between my faith and my passion is when I realized who I truly was. And I had to kind of be in a dark space for a while to understand who I am. And now I would say I identify, and I call it a trifecta. And it's a trifecta because it's powerful, because it's full of strength. And that trifecta is a Black Muslim woman. And to society's eyes, a Black Muslim woman is sometimes considered incapable or at a disadvantage, or we can't do certain things, just like I mentioned in the video, but that's not what it is. And I realized that through my journey. that I'm powerful, and that every day I walk outside, I'm able to break a stereotype. Every time I walk on the court and make a shot, they're like, whoa, this Muslim girl can do that. Or wow, she's black. Oh wow, she's a woman. So all of these stereotypes of my identity are shattered because I'm here day to day, being proud of who I am and not shying away from who I truly am.
That's good. Thank you so much for sharing that. Um, very powerful. So our brings us to our next question. Sorry, just one second. So the next question is, and any of you could answer this first. How have you grown through your journey of resilience, and where would you say you are at right now? Bilal, you want to take this first?
Okay. By journey of resilience, what do you mean? Just overall life, or like mental health stuff we're talking about, or like career paths?
Everything.
Everything? Okay.
So it's
heavy question. Starting off, or our journey of resilience has been an interesting one, as obviously as Muslim artists, especially as Black Muslim artists who tend to focus on rap. I'm the rapper of the group, but like we do a lot of different genres, but like our most popular songs have always been hip hop. We bring a lot of energy to stage and just very upbeat stuff, right? So starting off, there was always kind of a stigma against the music we made and the stuff we performed, because again, there's a lot of anti-Blackness in the Muslim community, in terms of Black culture, where they're not really informed about it and not really used to seeing it. And the only times they do see it is through the lens of the media, which isn't always the most positive lens, as you clearly know. So it was always, we were always told that we should tone down our eccentricness or soften up a bit, or you guys should sing more, you have lovely voices, like don't rap, right? Which for me, I love rapping. It's my favorite thing to do. It's why we do it, right? It's my profession. It's my favorite thing to do in the world. But there's been a lot of times where I've considered not being a rapper for two reasons. One, a lot of people, you get the whole spiel that rap music's haram because you're copying the kuffar or whatever, right? But not really. It's just our culture. Rap music is our culture. The same thing, you can say the same thing about any kind of music, because all people do all kinds of music, right? Why is rap music excluded in that saying, right? Like, why do they only exclude rap music? Because they only associate rap music with Black people, and they only associate Black people with gangs and violence and stuff like that, because that's all they've ever seen through the lens of the media, because they haven't actually interacted with actual Black people on a daily basis, right? So yeah, there's been times I've considered like quitting music, because I was like, wait, can I really do this? Can I really be a rapper and still be Muslim? Which obviously I know now I can. And there's been times where like the microaggressions from people, especially within the Muslim community, where like, oh, you're Black, of course you're a rapper, and stuff like that, where like there's nothing really else they expect you to do besides rapping or sports, I guess. And then even still, when they have conversations with them, they're like, oh, I've heard stuff like, oh, I didn't expect you to be so well spoken. Well, I use words and the English language as my main way of expressing myself through music. Of course, I'm gonna be well spoken, but they just assume, oh, he's a rapper, he doesn't actually know what he's talking about, right? Or he's obviously not well educated and stuff like that, right? So those microaggressions have affected me a lot in ways of me contemplating quitting rapping and stuff like that. Just because like when you live technically the stereotype and people let you know that quite often, there are some times you feel like not trying to contribute towards the stereotype. where you feel like, am I contributing towards this negative stereotype that people have? But then I've realized that the stereotype should not be negative, because this is just the music we do, and I just so happen to be a rapper. I could have been an athlete, and the same thing they could have done, like the same thing would have happened, right? The negative stereotypes of, oh, of course you're black, of course you're a rapper and stuff like that, right? So recently, me and my brother, over the past like 2 years, more and more so, have just really stopped caring and focusing on these stereotypes or what people think or the negative connotations to certain things or whatever. Because like before, I love dancing as well. Before, I never really danced on stage while we were performing. I never really think like low energy stuff like that, right? To not be too black, I guess, as they say. Because again, when we're performing in Muslim crowds, especially here where we are in Toronto and stuff like that, it's majority brown and Arabs and stuff like that. And again, they're not the most welcoming of black culture most of the time. But it's funny because you will see other people rap, like other brown people rap or Arabs rap, and they will not get nearly as much of the backlash as they do when they see black rappers. Because, and then it starts to think, do they really dislike black culture itself, or do they just dislike black people because they just know negative connotations about black people through the lens of the media because they haven't seen or interacted with black culture like for real, right? But for where we are right now, especially me, I've stopped caring about the connotations and stuff like that. So we just go on stage, and I think we like to say is we're going to be unapologetically black. And just when we go on stage, I'm going to rap, and I'm going to rap as how energetic and as how I'm going to dance as much as I want. I'm going to do all the stuff. I know itself what I'm doing is not against my religion. There's nothing I'm doing that's considered haram or anything. And yeah, so right now we just go on and
be unapologetically black. Thank you, Bilal. That's really great. Thank you for sharing that with us. Bilqis, do you wanna answer the same question? Have you grown through your journey? Sorry, how have you grown through your journey of resilience? And where would you say you are right now?
Yeah, so Bilal, great answer. I understand what you mean about Black people having to only be either in the entertainment industry or athlete. It's interesting, even though I fall in those categories. But anywho, I would say growing through my journey, as I'm still growing, very much so, I do believe that resilience in sport is automatic, because you win some, you lose some. And regardless of whether you're winning or you're losing, you have to bounce back to be ready for the next game. So as an athlete, and I started playing basketball when I was 5, and I'm competitive. I come from a competitive family. I have 4 sisters and 3 brothers, in which everybody played basketball. So it was a competition from day one. I had to find my space in my family, even as a young child. So resilience has always been there. However, when it came to real life outside of basketball and actually questioning my existence or my identity or my career path, that was a hard one to bounce back from. And again, like I mentioned, that's when I started to question my Islam, started to question my hijab. I started to question why I wasn't allowed to play. Like, why is this happening to me? I started to question Allah. And that's where I went wrong. And that's when I had to kind of snap back. That's where that resilience came in. And I would say what helped me through that, again, was understanding who I was and how my image was affecting people. So my failure, which I considered my failure, or I guess my lack of success in terms of playing basketball, was more of a strength to the outside world looking in at my story. So when I was first invited to speak to this young group of Muslim girls, they saw me as an inspiration when I was seeing myself as somebody who was trying to figure it out in my journey. you know? And so when I started to get this feedback from different groups of people, especially the young people, I understood that, okay, here I am. I have to be strong in this situation. I have to continue to share my struggles because I can then resonate with the groups of youth I was speaking to. And we needed that, you know, and I didn't realize that early on because I was seeing my situation as a failure. I didn't, or I couldn't. And what I realized is you can connect with so many people through a struggle. And as I'm continuing through my journey now, I'm allowing those struggles to happen. And I'm allowing my feelings to sit in those struggles so that I can bounce back and be and have that resilience to learn from it. And you know, that's what I try to teach the young kids that I train in basketball now, or that I just, you know, mentor now, is that it's okay to have these feelings of failure, or to feel like you're not fitting in, or because that's at the end of the day strength, and that's what helps get you through. So in my journey right now, currently, I'm still figuring out myself, at the same time trying to be there for the girls who will come after me, whether it's in basketball, whether it's in the putting on hijab for the first time, whether it's still trying to identify and find their passion in life.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Time wise, we're a little bit tight, so let's try to whiz by some of the other panel questions who might not be able to go through all of them. Next question that I had was, how would you recommend that non-Black Muslims commit to end anti-Black racism in the Muslim community? Bilal, you want to answer that?
Okay. My first recommendation would go and talk to actual Black people. A lot of people try to take the ally side and be an ally, which like we respect and we're thankful for, but they don't actually understand the actual struggle for real, because they just don't actually have Black people in their lives for themselves, right? You can read books, you can get educated and stuff like that, and that's all good, but getting a real experience from a real person can grant a lot of insight that you wouldn't be able to find or see just from reading a book, right? Or just from listening to a podcast. Because I've had friends that I've hung out with and stuff like that. And once I start pointing out microaggressions to them and start pointing out stuff, then they'll start to realize more like, wait, that just happened because of that. And I was like, yes, that happens a lot, but you wouldn't, they wouldn't know because they're not looking for it and they don't feel it themselves, right? And when you do go and talk to and try to get educated, always come with an open mind and just forget everything that the media and everyone else has told you about this certain group of people, and go in with a completely open mind, and you'll see things from a very different perspective. Because even if you do go in to talk to people, if you already have a prejudice in your mind in a certain way, then you will automatically think that that a certain thing happens because of that group of people. Like, for example, if you go in and you talk to a Black person and they do happen to be an athlete or a rapper, then you have to ask yourself, why did this happen? Is it because Black people are just supposed to be athletes and entertainments? No, you could also look at it because they tend to live in through decades and generations of systemic oppression. They live in less fortunate and more poor areas, and just their education and schools and stuff like that are not as funded. So for them to make it to those high levels, they have to use other outlets that are more provided for them, which is the sports and the entertainment and stuff, right? So if you don't actually come in and look at it from a point of view where you're trying to find an answer and you're trying to understand why such and such actually happens, then you won't actually learn anything and you won't understand. So if you're an ally and you're trying to fight anti-Blackness, the number one thing you can do to tell people who you feel like need educating is open your mind and go talk to a Black person and go talk to things and invite Black people into your communities and invite them to come talk about these certain things and actually listen, because there's been a lot of talks now about, like, a lot of mosques and a lot of organizations are having these discussions of, oh, okay, ever since the whole protest started earlier on in the year, about, like, they'll get people to come in and talk about anti-Black racism and stuff like that, and they'll get them to talk. They'll be like, yeah, okay, great talk, and then nothing will change because they didn't actually listen. They were just doing it for PR purposes, I guess, and just to keep
Right.
right. So my number one thing is just come in with an open mind and come to be educated, understand there are reasons for most of the way things are right now, and yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Bilal. Bilqis, do you want to share your insight?
Yeah. So I guess I'll kind of play the other side of that, of what Bilal kind of answered. And as Black people, we have to also play our part as well. And I say that because I've been living, I guess, here in London, in Canada, for the past 2 years. And it's a different experience being Black in America than being Black in Canada. Just a slight difference. And I say that because when my husband and I have to kind of explain where we're from, people don't understand. So they're like, you always get the question, no, where are your parents from? America. No, but where are your parents' from? America. And then I have to actually have this difficult conversation of slavery. Then I have to talk about why I'm mixed with 1,000 different races because of slavery, right? And so it's funny, the average Canadian does not understand. And then it just simply tells us that, man, there's no knowledge here. There probably is in certain pockets of people, but certain non-Black people don't know about what happened to Africans. And it's actually it's interesting, And so I think as Black Muslims, and I'm just say this in the Black Muslim community and outside the Muslim community, Black people need to make a big deal out of Black History Month. Let's not just allow the mosque to take that over and put on their small, 2-day or 2-day weekend. I don't know. What are they? I don't even know what they have. Like small, I don't know what you call it at this point, but let's celebrate the entire month. As Black people, let's take that exhibit over and do it our way and incorporate our culture, whether you're Black American, whether you're Black Canadian, whether you're African, you're from the Caribbean, whatever it is, and show who we are. Because I know a lot of times when it's Black History Month in the past 2 years, my husband and I are Black American, and our experiences in America are totally different here. It is totally different. And alhamdulillah to be living in Canada, because I can walk down every street here and not worry about anything. In America, we have to avoid certain places, or my husband has to go into the store instead of me. So I'm grateful to be in Canada. However, there's a lot of educating that needs to be done here so that people understand who we truly are. And as Black people, I do take fault for that because I'm not having these difficult conversations. I shy away from it. When the microaggressions happen, your immediate response isn't what you wanted it to be, because you want to have the proper adab, or you want to have the proper, the manner to do it. You don't want to just be like, and lately it's funny. We have a 7-month-old son, and subhanAllah, he's fair skinned. His hair is totally different than my husband's hair. People don't see my hair, of course, so they don't even know. But since when people see our son, oh, wow, he's so cute, mashallah, but he's so light. He's not the same color as you. Or where did he get his hair from? And I'm like, Black people are a beautiful race of people, and we start from the palest of palest to the darkest of dark. And it's funny because people don't understand that. And here in these communities, they think that the kids should be the same color as you. And I'm like, what about genetics? What about just simple biology, you know? But again, those are things that need to be explained from Black people. So no, let's not wait for our friends to pick certain things out. No, let's not wait for the community to celebrate Black history for us. Let's do it ourselves so that we can pull back that narrative and essentially spread the right one.
Thank you so much, Bilqis, Bilal. Thank you so much. We did have more questions, but unfortunately, in terms of time, we have run out. So, but I will maybe leave you with this last question. If you could share with us, you know, a quote that resonates with you to leave with the audience today. Maybe one quote from both of you. Bilal?
Okay. A quote that's always stuck to me is a Malcolm X quote where he was being interviewed and he gave a really good analogy where he said, if you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and pull it out 6 inches, there's no progress. If you pull it all the way out, that's not progress. Progress is healing the wound that the blow made. And then he goes on to explain that America hasn't even begun to acknowledge the knife's existence, right? And that that works with a lot of communities, even the Muslim community. You'll ask a lot of people if there is racism and anti-Blackness in the Muslim community, and they'll say, no, there's not. But then literally contribute to the anti-Blackness and the racism of the Muslim community, right? So I feel like the first step we need to take is to let everyone know that this does happen and this is a thing that is here. And we need to educate people that, yes, this is a problem and it needs to be fixed right now before any real healing can be done. Everyone needs to acknowledge that this is an actual thing that goes on.
Thank you so much, Bilal.
So that was great, Bilal. So I guess my quote would be from a lecture I actually listened to from Imam Omar Suleiman, but it wasn't his quote. He just paraphrased it. And it stuck with me and it still sticks with me when I'm kind of going through my days of not feeling so good or my lack of positivity or whatever. And this is just something I think we all can resonate with. And it's what happiness consists of. And happiness consists of three things. And it's something to do, something to look forward to, and something to love. So if you can sit there and think of those three things in your life, and if you have those three things, then alhamdulillah, you're okay, you know, regardless of the outside factors that are weighing in, you know, or that the struggles that you're going through. If you have those three things, then say alhamdulillah and be grateful, and, you know, continue to work on whatever else you may be dealing with. But I think a lot of times we assume that happiness is our outside factors, you know, when it starts within us. And so inshallah, we can find those three things and be content with the happiness that we currently have. And if you're missing one of those, I don't know, let's try and find it. Inshallah.
That's great. Thank you so much. Both of you are amazing. Very honored to have you both here. You know, amazing discussion. Just too bad in terms of time. You know, we had more questions to ask. Maybe one thing I would suggest is if you could, you know, each share a resource, maybe an organization, a book, an article, or a podcast that you can recommend for our community to learn more about how to take action to eradicate anti-Black racism. So if you could share that on the chat, we'll be sure to send that out to everybody. Okay, thank you so much, Bilal, Bilqis. Thank you so much.